Ready? Okay, we're going to do a fuel service, BG fuel service, throttle body, upper intake cleaning, and fuel system service on this 2011 Camaro 3.6 liter timeless car. We're going to be putting these two cans of cleaner, part number 260 GDI direct injection cleaner, throttle body cleaner, through the throttle body, but we're going to start off by putting a can of 44K in the gas tank while we're doing the service. I'm sorry, there's the 44K. We're going to stick that in the gas tank before we do the service. Really doesn't matter when we put it in, but we're going to do it before we start. GDI intake cleaner, BG, part number 260. Pop open the can. Pull it away from the car for spillage.
Wholesale fuel right at the pump and the ability to control those purchases right from your web browser. You'll save time at the pump, time on accounting, and control your fuel bills. Join the companies already using.
I just flipped that tab up on the can straight up so it's more of a controlled pour, so it doesn't come all rushing out real quick, and I dump it all over the place.
Customers love driving in for an oil change without an appointment. How do you get more of a good thing?
We're going to put a second can in. Really, you only need one can. Preventative maintenance, one can. If you haven't done one in a while, go ahead and run 2 cans through it. Exact same chemistry.
A slider on the outside corner at the knees to Cedric Mullins. 0-1, 2-0 Baltimore. The only scored twice near the bottom of the first, held off the board the second. Mullins takes a slider in the same spot.
Filled.
That was down and maybe outside, but
11 ounce, 22 ounces. Now,
Bradford having a sensational
you
season.
can go ahead and hit pause on that, because we're going to...
Okay,
Okay, back to it. BG fuel service. I've got my fuel tool hooked up, my 9290 tool. I'm not using my one going through the vacuum today, only because I don't have my fittings with me. This is just as well. So I've got my 2 cans of the cleaner in here, intake cleaner. I've poured the 44K in the fuel tank while the fuel service is running. And if you see right here, I took the boot loose. I just loosened the clamp, stuck my nozzle for my fuel tool right here. I just slide that down in between here. I don't have to take that boot all the way off. Just slide that there, point this nozzle towards the middle of the throttle body, and then slide this boot so that'll hold the nozzle in place, so I don't have to hold it. Okay, so now the nozzle's pointing straight in. But what I want to show you is I'm going to dump this EPR into the crankcase. But hit pause until I get mine. I'm just going to dump the funnel in here. Again, I want to put my EPR in. This is just going to do some cleaning in the engine before the oil change. So I'm putting this on top of my old oil. Part number 109 EPR, engine performance restoration. If we did a compression test, I would show you we do restore compression in a lot of cases. Okay, so we're going to dump that straight in, and again, we're going to mix that in with the oil, the old oil. Good to go. Now we'll start this engine up with that cleaner I just poured in the EPR. I'm going to let this engine warm up to operating temperature, basically, before I can do the fuel service. All of these cleaners are heat activated, so be patient, start it up, let it run until it gets to operating temperature. Trying to check the mileage, but I don't know these cars. 31,455 miles for this service. So there you go, 31,455, 31,000 miles we're going to be doing this service and an oil change. 2011 3.6 liter Camaro with only 31,000 miles, not bad. Okay, we're just going to let her run. We'll we'll let the operating temperature, that gauge, go up to about a quarter of the way. Okay, we're at about operating temperature. We're about a quarter of the way up, just past quarter of the way up on the temperature gauge. You could probably barely read it because somebody put some kind of cleaner on there, but I'll get that off later. But it's past. So now let's go out underneath the hood. Okay, so we've already got the nozzle set up inside the throttle body pointing. I've got my air hose hooked up here. I'm going to dial this back, make sure it starts at 0 counterclockwise. I'm going to turn this air on, make sure this is snug. I'm going to open up my gauge down here, let this chemical flow. Let's pull this out and dial it up to about 15, 20. Now it's spraying in there. I just want to listen to the engine. I want to see if the engine starts shaking, starts making funny noises. Sounds pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crank this thing up to 60 psi. Right now I'm at about 20 just to introduce the cleaner to the engine, let it kind of adapt. Now I want atomization. I want that cleaner to atomize. I want it to fall in through that throttle body. Right down here. We're at 60 psi. You watch that bottom gauge, you see it's 60 psi. I'm going to turn this off. It drops real fast. That means there's still chemical in there. So every now and then we're going to turn that off until it drops real slow, and we know it's empty. So right now the chemical's spraying in through the throttle body. I'm going to throttle it out. I'm not going to slap throttle it. And honestly, I'm going to throttle up only because I can smell that cleaner out here in the driveway. I'm not going to slap throttle it. I'm just going to gradually bring it up. Let it back down slowly. I'm going to do that again. Bring it up to about 2,000 RPM. Let it start clearing some of this out. I don't want this chemical puddling up on me. Let it back. Okay, now let's just let it sit. We'll come back to it in 4 or 5 minutes and we'll throttle it out again. Okay, so it's been running probably, how long? Maybe about 20 minutes. So again, I want to see if that drops fast or slow. Remember, fast, it went down originally. That means it's still full. Opposite, slow, means it's empty. So I'm going to turn this valve on the bottom back. And actually, let's just watch this bottom valve. This one here. Drops fast. Okay, now this one here is not dropping it at all. You see that? Okay, we're going to let it run a little bit longer. I'm going to throttle it out again. You smell that BG chemical like that, it's getting strong out here. Like they say, it smells like money. The only reason it's taken so long, it's been about 25 minutes so far, because I'm running 2 cans. I just want a good, thorough cleaning. So I'm running 2 cans. Again, you could get away with running 1 can of this, and it'll be just fine for preventative maintenance. So I'm going to clear this out. Hopefully, let's go check our gauge, see if we're close. Okay, so we're going to watch our bottom gauge again. See, now it's going down much slower. Much slower. Before it was fast. That tells me it's trying to push air, so there's air in there. So let's take a peek. I'll shut my air hose off here. I always want to make sure before I open this, don't have pressure. If you open that, you're going to take a little shower and it's going to burn. So whenever you see pressure on these gauges, pressure release right here. Now we're safe. It's not safe to open anything that's pressurized. You'll get a little splash action. This should be done. She's empty. You can see in there. Okay, so I'm going to get the car back up in the air and drain the oil out, and then I'll get back to you. Again, I'm running EPR through the crankcase right now. So while we're doing the fuel service, this service which we just completed, the EPR that's went in with the old oil in the crankcase is getting hot. When that gets hot, that goes down to the ring lands, and it'll take that baked on carbon on those GDI engines. Take that baked carbon, it'll make it soft and spring the rings back out, so we get compression back. It's really one of the best pour products I think out there in the market. But I've got that EPR running and they're getting good and hot now. I'm going to shut this off now though, so I can do the oil without burning the heck out of myself. So I'll come back to you in just a little bit.